All right, peace, power, and love as always. And greeting. Welcome all my listeners and appreciate everybody that's been uh, watching the content. I wanted to talk about something today and also a shout out to uh, my ActivateMedia.org family in Boston, Mass. I wanted to talk about something that's a little personal, and y'all know I'm always speaking about the kids. I'm always speaking about family, black family, black love, black unity, black family, the whole nine. Um, and I've been really paying, doing a lot of talking about our youth as well. Um, and then I went to my hometown back in East Texas and talked to an old friend. I'm not going to name any names, but I am going to tell the story the way the story was given to me. And this is why I say that we as a collective have definitely got to get involved. We definitely got to start making more sacrifices, myself included, for our children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren to come. Uh, we want our children to just be able to function, you know, have some normalcy in their lives. And this is why I stress our need to build together. This is why I stress the need for us to have our own. Because right now we don't have nothing. Let's just be real. I mean, some of us do, some of us don't. Not enough of us do. And this is where we're failing each other, let alone failing our children as well. We definitely got to start a serious push to change the narrative. We've really got to start a serious push to change the condition, because these stories happen, you know, far too often. Far too often. We go to a social media platform and we see one of ours being abused. And in the past, there have been several occasions, even with these coward cops, where they're so over aggressive when it comes to our children. Just like the young man a few months back who knocked on the door looking for his brother and was shot. Just like the young man a few months back that was shot after calling 911 and coming out of the hallway with his hands up. He was still shot. And then just recently, the cop that did that terroristic act was granted permission to still be a cop. I'm not surprised. But this is why I say we've definitely got to start working together to better the condition, change the condition, eliminate the condition. And this story, I went back to my hometown, which is Sulphur Springs, Texas. Uh, Little East Texas town, but the things that happen there happen all over. But when things happen that are closer to home, um, I myself am more about trying to get some action, trying to get involved, trying to get others involved, because this is something that we can't continue to stand for. This young man, this brother that I know, he's actually my age, but this brother that I know, he's got a grandson. And his grandson is a nice sized kid, 5 feet tall almost. He's only 7. But he's also autistic. So when I saw him, I approached him, we were talking, and he said, "Man, let me tell you about Sulphur Springs School District." And I said, "What's going on?" And people they know me, and they know I tend to get involved, get vocal, uh, try to make it go national. Haven't had much luck with the nationals, but still just making noise, uh, trying to expose to the best of my ability the issues. And this is what some of us act like we're afraid to do. We act like we're afraid to stand up for what's right. We act like we're afraid to do what's right, but yet and still every Sunday you in church, amen and hallelujah and praise God and all that, you know. But out here in the real world, you're not doing what's right. And this goes for any and everybody, because we all have some questions that we're going to have to answer. And I just want to be on the right side and have the right answers. This is why I do what I do. This is why, because people understand my mentality, and the people that know me know that I'll try to do as much as I can in the situation to expose it, for one. And back to the story, his grandson was assaulted by a teacher in Sulphur Springs School District. Now, we all know that autistic children are behavior challenged. Autistic children find things that amuse them that may not amuse other children. Autistic children may not be able to sit still for long periods of time like other children. An autistic child may be a bit more aggressive in nature than other children. But I don't care what the situation is when you are an adult, and not only an adult, but an adult who is responsible for teaching those children. An adult, you are a teacher who is responsible for the well-being of those children while under your watch. And this is the kind of thing that happens because we don't say anything. It continues to happen because we'll make up noise in the beginning or not. And even if the noise is made, it'll die off. And then it's forgotten. And then whatever happens, happens. And no one hardly ever knows the end result because nobody ever hangs around long enough to see what the end result will be. Some people get involved just because it's the going thing at that particular time. Some people get involved just because, and the reason I'm involved is because I care. I truly care about what's happening to us and our children. And so this teacher, and mind you, I left out the biggest part. This all happened back in like October. And when I spoke to my friend a couple of weeks ago, they had a meeting. I've been meaning to call him back. I left him a voicemail, but I haven't spoken back to him to get the details of what happened in this so-called meeting, 4 months later, 4 months after the incident. The teacher's still working. And there are just certain protocols that should be followed when these types of circumstances and incidents happen. Because he's a challenged child, for one. His size means nothing. He's 7 years old and autistic. So he really has the mind of a 3 or 4 year old, possibly. I'll have to get more details, but I'm just really speaking on autistic children in general. So a 7-year-old autistic child may not be on a 7-year-old mentality. He may not have the understanding of right and wrong. He may not fully grasp what that is. And this is just because of a condition. No reason for an adult who is responsible for the well-being of that child to put his hands on him and to assault him. And then to say that the kid hit him first. He's 7, autistic, and you had to do something to trigger him, because there are certain things that trigger autistic children. This is just from things that I read up on. But there are certain things that trigger them. Noises or maybe loud music or just certain things. Darkness. Certain things that are triggers. Maybe insects. Who knows? But that's, something that we all have. But for an autistic child, it's even more in depth than dealing with the normal person mentally. And there's no excuse for that. And this is why I always say, let me go ahead and say it now. We need each other. This is why I always say this. Because, see, some of us have the perception that, well, it ain't me. It ain't happening to me. And I always say that, what you choose to ignore, like they say, what's not on your porch at your doorstep can make it to your doorstep if you ignore what's happening. And we can't continue to ignore these things. And what really bothers me the most is that in this little small town, I'm sure that people have heard about this incident. And the community didn't even try to come together on this. The community didn't go to no school board meetings. The churches didn't come together and go to the school board meetings, city council meetings, to make up some noise about this. Because this needs to be addressed. Plain and simple. There's too many instances in the past where they've gotten off and they've gotten away with it. Every time something like this happens, I think back to young Tamir Rice, 12 years old, playing with a toy gun, losing his life behind these cowards. And see, they're not only on the police force, some of them is in these schools. And this is why I always say we need to get more involved and be more about building and building our own so that we can teach our own. See, we gon' discipline them out of love, not out of hate. We gonna correct them out of love, not out of hate. And see, not only that, we gonna have a better mental understanding of that child, because that's where we come from. And when you're dealing with mentally challenged people, there are certain things that you have to ignore. And there are certain things that you have to look over. And especially when it's a child. Especially when it is a child. So I'm planning on trying my best to really get some exposure to this particular incident, because it hits close to home, and this is one of my friend's grandsons. This is his grandson. So, his grandson, my nephew, you know, like family. He's more like a brother, a big brother. But, you know, I hate to see him going through this, and he was angry. He was so angry. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Because there's no way that this teacher should still be allowed around children, especially children who are mentally challenged. And that leads me, because I didn't ask very many questions. I was actually about to leave when me and him started talking, and he was telling me about what was happening, what had happened. Like I say, way back in October, and there's been nothing done to this teacher. And see, this is when it's time to make up noise and pick up the phone and call SSID, SSISD, and ask questions. This is when it's time to show up to the school board meetings and ask the right questions. This is when it's time to go to the city council meetings and ask the right questions. See, we got to learn how to make up noise the right way. When we out in the streets, which gets attention, but when we go to them meetings and start challenging the powers that be and start challenging the system that's in place, that's when we can change some things. It's power in numbers. Once again, it's power in numbers. And we've got to stop being so scared to stand up to Shay, Whitey. We gotta stop being scared to stand up to the system that's constantly pushing us backwards. And especially when it comes to our children. Our women and our children should be high priority. Without our women, we don't have the children. Without the children, we don't have a future. And this is why it's so important for us to get back involved and make sure that they're doing the right thing. Because, see, apparently hadn't been enough noise made in Sulphur Springs. So I'm about to start screaming to the top of my lung and reach out to a few people and see about trying to get a light shined on this situation and getting this teacher exposed. And I'll have more information after I contact, my friend, my brother. But I hate to see his daughter going through this. It's just not fair. And then what's even worse than what this man did to this child is that the whole system, the whole Sulphur Springs Independent School District just ignored it. But that doesn't surprise me because I can remember back when I played sports. I'm going to tell this quick story. And I was under a coach that needed a bad guy. In my senior year, I had to be the bad guy. I loved basketball. That was my passion. I lived to lace up my high tops and get out there. But long story short is these people will use you and hate you at the same time. And then in the case with my brother's grandson, they feel as if he's not useful anyway because he's mentally challenged. This is how they think. Say what you want to say about me. But those that are useful, they use you up. But those that are not, they throw them away. The job that I do at the present moment, I deal with handicapped and mentally challenged people every day. I feel like this is something that the Most High put in my path at the moment to kind of humble me and make me a little more compassionate. You have to have understanding, for one, and not everybody does. You have to have patience, number two, and not everybody does. You have to have empathy, and not everybody does. You have to look at that person as if they were one of your relatives and how you would want your relative to be treated. No matter how mentally challenged that person was, you still want them to be respected and treated like they're a person, which they are. So for this to have happened in my hometown and everybody's tight-lipped, and even the people that are in position to actually vocalize and actually play a role in disciplinary actions and consequences for this teacher's assault. But those are the kind of niggas that the system loves, because they're the kind of niggas that the system can plant. Those are the kind of niggas that can get close enough to some of us that they will never be able to get that close to. And this is why I say we have to watch those who look like us and don't just automatically off the rip think just because he looks like you, he has the same mental mentality as you. Because not all of us think this system is some bull. Some people that look like me love this system despite what it has done and is doing to our people. You just got them kind of niggas out there. And it's sad that you grow up with people and you watch them turn into what is part of the problem. Because there's no way that I could be in a position to speak, not only speak, but to be able to do something about that situation. I'd be all over it, because my integrity wouldn't let me stay tight-lipped. I would speak on it because it's the right thing to do. And the right thing for Sulphur Springs Independent School District to do is to remove that teacher and let him apply for a job somewhere else. Because just like the police that kill us, they just go to another department. You know, I really don't understand why we don't see that, why we don't view that for what it is and what this situation is. It's racism. There's no way that little Johnny with autism that's 7 years old and just happens to be a bigger kid at 7 than most. There's no way that little Johnny could have been assaulted by a black male teacher and nothing be done about it. Yeah, there's no way. No way. Because we all know that here, yeah, that complexion for the protection is real. And even though you may think you are in their world, If you do the wrong thing, they will let you know quicker than quick. You still a nigga. And I have no respect for those types, because those are the same types of backstabbing, shucking and jiving, bootlicking, two-faced men that infiltrated and had Martin assassinated, infiltrated and had Malcolm assassinated, infiltrated and had Fred Hampton assassinated. Those types of niggas. Rats. No good for the community, because they are more about trying to impress massa as opposed to trying to impress and do what's best for the community. And it's not even about trying to impress anyone. It's just about doing the right thing. See, and those are the very brothers, when the time comes, they'll be trying to run back to the right side. But see, I say send them on wherever them people going, send them on with them. Send them on with them. They love them that much, send them on with them. Give them the same punishment them folks gonna get. I mean, how can you put... I don't know. I just don't get it sometimes. You know, how can you put others before your own? How can you put others before yourself? Because those kind of niggas put massa for himself. And then we continue to suffer. And this is why I say we need each other. And then we don't have to worry about someone going to speak on our account. We can go and speak on our own account. Because some of these people who are put into these positions are given ultimatums on what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say, or their job will be in jeopardy. So I get it, but sometimes a job and a title ain't worth your integrity. So where is yours? Where's your integrity when it's time to do the right thing? So I got several questions that will probably forever remain unanswered. But it's time for us to S.O.C, save our children. It's time to save our children. By saving our children, we're saving ourselves and saving our future. It's time for us to teach our children the things that we were taught and the things that we had to learn along the way, so that they can pass it on and sharpen it up and make it work even better than it works now. Take the struggle out of it. Because we do it, but it's a struggle to do it. These next generations are much wiser. We got to give them the wisdom to make them strong spiritually and mentally. because that's what matters. That's where your wealth is. And we got to teach our children wealth don't mean how many dollars you have in your pocket. Wealth means where's your integrity? Where's your heart? Where's your mind? Because what you get up here, nobody can take that. And all that you can get up here, that's wealth. That's something you can take and use the rest of your life. For the rest of your life, you can use that. You know, I'd rather my children, and I did try to get my daughter to play sports, but it wasn't her. And I wasn't tripping because I'd much rather my children get them grades because the world knows that we can play sports and shit. The world already knows that. I don't knock any parents for, you know, the sports and stuff, but I told all my kids, you ain't got to play no sports you don't want to. I'd like you to, but it's your choice. And I'm not going to say anything else after that. But get your grades, get your education. So I can't knock that. And like I say, I prefer that. Because like I say, the world knows that we can dribble and throw and run and sing and all that other stuff. Entertain. Because that's all it is. That's all it is. And we've got to teach our children to be more than just entertainment. We've always allowed this system to use us for their, to their advantage. And I've said this before, we got to start using each other to our own advantage, to our own benefit. And when I say using one another, I'm not talking about in a harmful way. I'm talking about in a way that we can benefit from one another. We let everybody else benefit off of us. Why not benefit off each other? And then when our children see us doing that, they'll do it instinctively. It'll be just what they do because they saw it being done. Like everything else that they do. They do it because they see it being done. Anyway, that's all I got. I just wanted to bring this particular case about my brother, from another mother and what his daughter and his grandson is going through right now in Little East Texas town of Sulphur Springs, Texas. And like I say, this teacher should not have taken till February to have the meeting when this incident happened in October. This whole thing just reeks. I mean, this whole thing is I smell cover up. It's saying nobody's gonna say nothing here. And then the people that are in the position to say something go right along with it and say nothing. Do nothing. See, my conscience won't let me do stuff like that. I do a lot of things, but I'm moral. I have my integrity. And I'll never give anyone the opportunity to have and hold something over my head. I'll never make decisions that I'll regret. And see, sooner or later, decisions that have been made in this situation will be regretted. Sooner or later. But, Sulphur Springs, where are you all at? Because this situation needs attention. This young man needs support. This family needs support. This teacher needs to be fired. It's just that simple. All right, that's all I got. Like I say always, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all taking the time to listen to me. Uh, Thank my activatemedia.org family, and feel free to plug into the YouTube channel. Subscribe. I enjoy bringing the content there on Fridays. I definitely just enjoy the opportunity and appreciate Patrick Wilson once again. Appreciate you all here, my subscribers. It's just what I do. I'm truly concerned, not because I'm trying to get famous. I'm concerned because I want to change your mind and your mind and your mind. I want to change minds. And changing minds, we can change conditions. But like I always say in closing, let's plan, let's organize, let's unify, because we all have a key right here. And right here, I'm out. Peace, power, and love.